The U.S. has become the largest hub for immigrants in the world. It has been shown that immigrants assimilate faster in the U.S. than any other well developed European country. There have been numerous spurs of mass immigration in the U.S. throughout the 1800s to the present. Between the 1900s to the 1920s, the nation permitted entry to 14.5 million immigrants. Even with this mass influx of immigrants, the National Origin System limited immigration for the first time in U.S. history. The system was set as each nationality received a quota based on its representation in the past U.S. census. Much of the most recent mass immigration came from the passage of the Immigration and Naturalization Act of 1965. This mass influx of immigrants led to more innovation, a better educated workforce, greater occupational specialization, and better productivity. But even with all of these benefits of immigration, it has been shown that in the US that there is a positive correlation between the increase in immigrants and the increased margin in economic inequality. Immigrants tend to have either very high or very low wages compared to those native in the U.S., meaning that immigrants have a naturally higher residual level of income inequality than natives do. The two charts shown were probability distributions, where the higher the curve at a given wage, the more likely it is for an individual surveyed to earn that wage. Because the distribution of wages is so aggressive, those at the top usually earn many times more than those at the bottom. And these charts, it uses log hourly wages at the bottom with the equal dollar value listed below it. The charts reveal that new immigrants are earning higher wages now than in the past. While this is true, the most frequent wage increased only slightly from 1980 to 2016, which was from $10 an hour or roughly $20,000 a year to $11.28 or about $23,000 a year. The charts also show that the income distribution has slightly widened, reflecting educational demographics. The immigrants have above average rates of being high school dropouts with lower earnings, but also have above average rates of being college degree earners. The road to immigration reform has been a long one, as 10.5 million undocumented immigrants live in the U.S. and face the possibility of being deported because of their lack of legal status. These same individuals have lived here with their families for many years, contribute to the workforce and to society, but they are at a risk of mistreatment from local and federal law enforcement due to their undocumented status. Immigration reform would include a legalization process that would provide protections for these vulnerable families. The next video clip being shown is how the Biden administration will be addressing the long anticipated immigration issues in his presidency.
6 days now until the inauguration, and this week we are looking at issues that are critical to California, and we're exploring just how Joe Biden will address them.
And tonight we're looking at immigration policy, something President Trump and President-elect Biden have sharply differing views on. From travel bans and border walls.
We'll begin immediate construction.
To dreamers being deported.
Free dreamers!
And children in cages.
No hate, no fear.
These aren't people.
Immigrants are welcome here.
These are animals.
A hard line on immigration was a central issue that propelled Donald Trump to the White House.
They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists.
The Biden administration promises swift changes to immigration laws. And with control of Congress, it may be possible after years of gridlock.
I think that the Biden administration in so many ways will be kind of the antithesis of the Trump administration when it comes to immigration. One of the first big things that President Biden is going to have to do is address dreamers.
Day one, they will change DACA which is the incorporation and the legal status of young people who were brought into this country, not to their own accord, but brought by their parents, they will change their status.
That program was given to us because of the people who fought before me.
And for the 1.5 million DACA recipients that have grown up in the U.S., the new direction, they say, is certainly a welcome one.
I feel like I finally see the light at the end of the tunnel, and that light, for me personally, is that dream of a pathway to citizenship and not having to live in fear of being separated from my family.
We've got to get them out of the shadows. We've got to have our immigration rules set and enforced, but we also have to recognize that many of the people who are undocumented weren't even old enough to walk when they came here.
The next thing he's going to try and do is look at that next rung of people, the people who came here as adults illegally, but again, work here, study here, pay taxes here, have families here. Will he address a path to citizenship? Again, a lot of this depends on what will happen in the Senate and whether or not President Biden is willing to robustly use executive orders.
Biden has promised to pass comprehensive immigration reform, protect DACA, protect asylum seekers, reform immigration, customs enforcement, reform Customs and Border Patrol, end the Muslim ban.
I'm sure he's got an army of people looking at every executive order that Trump issued and seeing which ones he wants to rescind. It's not easy to rescind, but it's not any more difficult to rescind than it was to establish them.
They will change the implementation of detention at the border. They will definitely stop the building of the border wall. So you're going to see a 180-degree difference in the implementation of existing immigration laws.
We're told one of the first orders President-elect Biden is expected to give is stop construction on the new border fencing. President Trump built 80 miles of new fencing, transferring billions of dollars from the Defense and Homeland Security departments when Congress refused to fully fund his request.